Call this meeting to order at 5:31. And if you'll join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And if we can get an adoption of the agenda, please.
Now I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda for June 21st, 2022 as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. First item of business tonight is our recognition proclamations. Anybody on the board have any recognitions this evening? Doctor, were you going to speak?
I was just going to say one just off the cuff thing. I just want to say how much I enjoyed the Hacienda and Vulture Peak handbooks.
It is very off the cuff, but thank you.
The handbooks.
Hacienda
The
and Vulture Peak
Hacienda and
handbooks.
Vulture Peak handbooks. They were well organized and colorful, and I just liked them.
Good. Dr. Remendini.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Malio. I do want to extend a very public thank you to members of the Wickenburg Police and Fire Departments for joining district and school leaders in the review and update of our crisis and emergency plans. Lieutenant Ken Lekowitz, Lieutenant Aaron Hadley, and Officer Joe Leahy from the Police Department and Captain Tony Christofferson from the Fire Department spent an entire morning with all of us on June 7th, and we're very thankful for their support in this process and appreciate that they have already volunteered their time to complete the process to include training and materials that we need to do some additional, like stop the bleed and those kinds of things. So we'll be reconnecting with them. And I want to take a few minutes, if you don't mind, to offer a special thank you to Lynn Green for her 13 years of service as Executive Administrative Assistant to the Board and Superintendent. And this is Lynn's official last board meeting, but not to fear, if everything goes well, she will be returning on July 5th in a new role. So anyway, just a small token of our appreciation for you. We'll have lunch tomorrow too. Yes, we're doing the long goodbye for some of our people, so we have another celebration. And in the audience this evening is Shauna Schaefer. She is also on our governing board agenda tonight. Shauna is being recommended to take Casey Geip's place, who will be taking Lynn's place. So we welcome Shauna to the meeting and thank you for joining us. And that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Remendini. Nice to meet you, Shauna. And Lynn, thank you so much for 13 and then ongoing years. Years, I said, not 1 year.
Years.
All right. So we've got our call to the public, and we actually, other than 2 employees, we have no one public, so, which is very unusual for us, but anyway. All right, so before we get into the consent agenda, I need to pull item A, which is the governing board meeting minutes. Anybody else need anything pulled from the consent agenda before we take action? Hearing none, we can entertain a motion to approve the rest.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item A for the June 21st, 2022 as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And the reason that we pulled the minutes is because in our packet, we've got the incorrect version of the study session. The study session minutes from May 17th. So on our tables, we have the hard copy with the corrected version. And some of you may have looked at them, or maybe everybody has.
They're a lot different.
Yes, they are. They look good. All right, so we can entertain a motion to approve those if everybody's good with that.
I'll make a motion to approve item A from the consent agenda and for June 21st, 2022 as modified.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, that motion carries. Thank you. All right, action item, which is number 5. We've got a request for approval of financial reports presented by our Executive Director of Business Services, Mrs. Erin Johnson. Take it away, Erin.
Good evening, Board President, members of the board, Dr. Amandini. You have your monthly financials in front of you, and as I've been saying all year, we're trending very well, and we're going to have a nice carry forward, I feel, for next year, which will be great and help us get through with the not so sure budget that's coming. So we're trending well. Our budget balances are very positive. We are in compliance, and there are no surprises to the best of my knowledge.
Wonderful. Thanks, Erin. Anybody have any questions for Erin? Or we can head right into a motion if you feel so compelled.
Make a motion to approve the financial report as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries as well. Action item B, which is request for approval of the Wickenburg Unified School District fiscal year 2023 proposed annual expenditure budget. And this sounds like it's coming off the plate of our Director of Business Services again, Mrs. Erin Johnson.
Well, hello again. So happy to be here. So the FY23 proposed budget that you have in front of you is what I'm calling a skinny budget. So as you are aware, the state budget has not been released as of yet. So the formulas that are in this budget are all from FY22. So once the state has released their budget, I will need to revise and update with the correct forms and bring back to you for approval. So as in past years, I'm being conservative and as always, and I will be when I bring it back as well, but what I mean by skinny budget is that, I kept our enrollment fairly steady. I put in enough to cover the items that I know for sure that we're going to have to pay for. So of course, salaries, benefits, some of those purchase services, supplies. I did take into account some of the budget savings I already know that we're going to have in salaries by some shifting in some positions that we had, but also did put a little additional in some of the necessary supply lines just due to inflation. But I know also that once I do that AFR in October, we will have more of a carry forward than what I'm showing there too, or that's at least what I anticipate based on years past and just trends that we have. So again, that will help with our year to year. I am optimistic that I will be able to give staff increases when I do bring back the budget. But I do have to wait for the final budget from the state to come in order to commit to that. I know that I do recognize the need for the increase due to inflation, and in order to keep us competitive and be able to recruit and retain our staff. So that is a big goal in the next budget that you guys will see from me once that state budget is revised, is to be able to get something in there for our employees just to recognize that. You will see this exact same budget again at our next board meeting, at the telephonic meeting on July 12th, because it has to be adopted by July 15th. So, but I do anticipate bringing back a budget based upon the state budget, probably in August or September, for you to approve then as well.
So we won't get the state budget information until after we're supposed to approve this?
Correct.
Okay.
Because what I propose to you is what you have to adopt.
Yeah.
So then it will come back to you as revision 1 once the new forms are approved. Because even though the state has to have a budget by July 1st, the Auditor General's office then needs to take all of that information that's put in the state budget and create all new budget forms for us to use to create a new budget. So this one's kind of a fake budget.
Does it include carry forward, or does that not come until later?
No, it does have it on page 7. You can see that there is some in there that I'm anticipating, which is a good amount.
Mm-hmm.
but I do, you know, it always increases slightly after we do the AFR and we've reconciled everything and move things to the grant, to grant funds and done our indirect costs and all of that. So, but right now, you know, that carry forward that's in there right now is accounted for in the budget that you see. So it is covering all the salaries and benefits and, all of the supplies and things that I anticipate that we need, the purchase services that we need, you know, all of those necessities just to get us through the year.
If we go higher on this, does it impact at all what the government thinks about? Because you said they put it all together and then,
What, I guess I don't know what you mean.
like, if you were to budget, because you said, you know, skinny budget, like you're taking precautions to make
Right.
sure we're covered. If we were to need more money than we have, does it make a difference?
Well, no, I mean, I have to go with
No, I know.
what I have.
No, I
So
know.
if my expenditures were more than what I felt our budget was gonna be, we'd have to make cuts.
Okay.
How are we doing on money for gas?
That's what I was gonna ask.
So far, we've been okay. I've accounted for that, you know. My accounts manager Denise and I were going through some of the purchase orders that we've had this year that we call it rolling to next year. So they're all those POs that we know, like we have to roll our electric one, we have to roll our trash, we have to roll, you know, gas, like all of those expenses we know we're going to have year to year. And so some of those, you know, we haven't seen a rate increase in APS, so that's good. I still buffered it a little bit just in case. But gas, yeah, we did bump that up a bit, quite a bit, just to be sure that we're covered with that, you know. So. Yeah,
But we
well,
still-
and we do use unleaded too. I mean, in our white fleet,
Yeah.
Do we still
So-
have do we get the gas from the town?
we do.
Okay.
We do. So with the town, it's a flat rate, or we pay what they pay plus 5%. We also have an agreement with Natterburg, so I always ask the transportation department, any buses that they can fill up there, please do so, because the administrative percentage over and above is less there than it is at the town. So they're a good neighbor.
Since you mentioned APS, I'd like to know how we looked this last year with the solar project and all that on comparison with the last year's, or the year previous election,
We get a credit,
right?
and so I'll have to look up to see what that credit was and get back to you. I don't know it off the top of my head. So, but I can get that to you because it's reflected on our invoices.
Because if I'm not mistaken, APS is just paying us a set fee.
I believe it's a set
They're
rate each
taking
month, but I can't remember
actually
what it is.
the solar
Yeah,
into their,
right.
Array. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure that set fee is used for, contribute
To
to
our,
utilities,
yeah,
or electric.
right, yeah. So I'll have to let you know for sure what that, I can't remember what it is each month off the top of my head, but I'll get that and I'll share it with
and
Lynn to share with you
that
guys.
doesn't change, does it?
I don't believe it does.
I mean, it's for 20 years or
Right.
I don't remember the time frame.
So much
Yep.
a month.
But
Yeah,
yeah, it doesn't
Yeah, I can't
increase
remember
over the years. This is
No.
the amount and
Right.
this is the
That's what
amount
the
it
contract
stays.
says.
Okay.
right, right,
That's what I thought.
yeah.
Cheap place.
Which our rates haven't, you know, like I said, haven't increased much. We haven't had any major increases there. But you know, it always it ebbs and flows depending on how it is outside and stuff too. You know, whether our air conditioner or our heat's having to run more, or you know, all of that. So, but yeah. So. You're welcome.
Anybody else? Okay, we can entertain that motion.
I'll make a motion that the governing board, Wickenburg Unified School District Number 9, approve the fiscal year 2023 proposed annual expenditure budget as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Item 6, items for future agendas. Anybody bring anything in with them today? Item 6B, announcements and calendar. You can see the list of events for the district that she shared with us.
None. August 1st. Gosh,
I know it.
jeez.
And then item 7,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. We are adjourned. 5:46.
And Ron says.
One of these days I'm gonna oppose.
You sure this wasn't?
I know it.
electronic?